Welcome to Rebel Roots Nutrition. I'm Carla, your host. Today we're going to just touch on the self-care. So it's kind of a buzzword, right? We hear that all the time. You've got to find time for self-care, and it's so important to, take care of yourself before trying to take care of everybody else around you, right? So yes, self-care is very important. There's a lot of different reasons that we should really be thinking about this. And one of the biggest reasons is stress. So stress has implications all around for all other types of conditions that we experience, and it can just exacerbate other health conditions. So from that standpoint, it's really important to try to figure out how we can start to devote more time towards the things that maybe we used to love and put time into, that we're passionate about, or even just finding time to take a pause and a break. So I often hear people say, well, I don't have time for self-care. Self-care is just one other thing that I have to put time into. And the reality is that it only takes about 5 to 10, 15 minutes of time that we need to carve out in order to, just kind of have that moment where we get to refresh and reset. So just a quick story. Earlier this morning for me, I was sitting at my desk. I was feeling really just kind of like tired, really fatigued. My eyes were feeling tired, and I was feeling tight in my shoulders. So initially I thought I just got to keep going, and I got to keep plugging away. I have so many things to get done. But I just said, no, you know what? This is the perfect time. You've been working really hard at taking 10 minutes a day to play your guitar, right? So that's my thing. I have been playing the guitar for some years, and I went through a period where I thought, well, I can't play the guitar. I don't have time for that. And I do, even if it's 10 minutes a day, it's something. And so in any case, that's my story of, how I've been trying to work out just these 10 minutes a day. And even if it's not every day, if it's every other day, that's okay too. I just know that I'm working towards that goal. But the reason that we need to think about this, the reason that this is important, is because we can't pour from an empty cup, right? We've all kind of heard that saying, and it's true. It's very difficult to be present in the way that we want to be present, and to provide, whether it's in our work life, in our family life, our creative life. It's just very difficult to show up in those ways, the way that we want to, if we're not kind of stepping back and saying, wait, hey, do I have what I need first? Maybe I need a nap today, or maybe I just need, to journal, whatever it is, or maybe it's even just self-care in the form of better nourishment. So, the health benefits, obviously, to taking better care of our own selves, it's kind of, they trickle down, right? But if we're taking care of that stress, that underlying stress, we're essentially also going to have better blood sugar regulation. We're going to have better cortisol levels throughout the day. And we're just going to really also, if we're getting out in nature more, that is going to contribute to better hormone levels, vitamin D, serotonin, all those things as well. So what are some of the types of self-care that are available to us? Well, I already mentioned, I think it could be just getting back into a hobby that you love. It could be, sipping on herbal tea, just kind of making a nice, delicious herbal tea in the middle of the day. It could be taking a walk out in nature. It could be just putting on some music and dancing. It also could be going and setting up a massage for yourself. So there's many different ways that this can look. And a lot of it is just dependent on kind of, each individual person and what their interests are and what makes them feel good. But what we should do is just kind of take notice throughout the day and say, like for me, it was, oh yeah, my upper shoulders are really tight. That's kind of like a sign for me that you've been sitting too long and staring at the computer too long. So taking breaks from screens is huge. I can't say enough about taking breaks from screens and social media. That is like a really great place for us to start. So, taking a walk, or just sitting and meditating as well. It's a really another great option. So these are some examples of, again, of some of the different possibilities for self-care. But when it comes to kind of, taking note of like, what's the signs that maybe I need this right now? So again, maybe that stiffness, possibly feeling just kind of a general fatigue, tired eyes, irritability is another one, and then just sort of the sense of overwhelm. So we can also, try to think about ways to create a sacred space for ourselves. So this doesn't have to be a physical space. It can be a physical space, and there's lots of ways to create a very beautiful space with, creating an altar and really making it something beautiful and sacred. And it's like, that's your space that you come to, and, it's there for you, whether you're going to just sit and meditate or journal. So that is one way to do it. And you can create that space outside when it's, the weather permits. But, sometimes this just looks like creating the space, meaning that time, right? Is there a time of the day that's best for you? And I know for me, it works really well when I get up earlier before my family. So, some of that time I'm up about an hour earlier. Some of that time I do things, right? Like preparing lunches for school and, checking a few emails. But really, I try to take that first 25 minutes or so to just, have my coffee. Sometimes I just sit outside. And other times I just want to read. And I really want to read something that's not related to nutrition, because that's kind of what I'm so focused on all the time. So just finding and creating that space. It doesn't take a lot of time, 5 to 15 minutes, right? And I like to think of it kind of like microdosing, right? Like it's a microdose of, self-care. And over time, those little doses, they just grow and grow, or they just become more and more consistent if they're not at first. But don't get discouraged if they're not, because they will over time if you're, really trying to create some consistency around that. So I guess a couple tips that I have around that is, take some Post-it notes and put them around the house somewhere in places where you will see them. Maybe it's in the bathroom, on the mirror, just reminding yourself to take 5-10 minutes every day, so that you're like, oh, yep, I saw it and then I forgot. But maybe the next time you see it and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that. My favorite way to do it is I just set actual timers on my phone so that they're just built right in. I'm kind of, building those reminders in, and my phone is always kind of accessible. So I'm reminded pretty easily that way. In any case, I really hope that you will, think about ways to support yourself in finding time to really just nourish and take care of yourself. Sometimes that could just be like planting your feet on the ground, sitting up tall, and taking a few breaths in the day. So For those of my in my audience that are local, Rebel Roots Nutrition is going to be hosting alongside with B Theory Aesthetics over at Sattva Health and Wellness in Lakewood, Colorado. We're going to be hosting a Sunday self-care day. So check out the information in the link, but we are going to be guiding people through herbal tea blending and some herbal facial care as well. So that is Sunday, February 19th at 2 p.m. It's $35 per person. It's pretty limited. It's only 10 people. So get on top of that if you are interested. And thanks again for tuning in.